So yesterday we had the Liberal Democrats announcing that they are now ready to form a new government with a new shadow cabinet, even though they're not the official opposition. Ed Davey tweeted that we're now ready to form a government. We have a great team to get the UK back on track, restore confidence, stop Brexit and tackle its causes. And to be fair, the Lib Dem membership is only about £12 a year. It's a lot cheaper than Netflix. So their main official website said that they now have a new shadow cabinet that they've announced. Some of the points from the website suggest that apparently people want a new vision for the country only the Liberal Democrats can supply. They also said that only we can be the real alternative our country so desperately needs. A real alternative, as in abolishing democracy? Firstly, you can't call yourself a shadow cabinet. You have to be Her Majesty's official opposition to have a shadow cabinet. Now, whilst they're very incompetent these days, that's still technically the Labour Party. That's just how our parliamentary democracy works. Although I think I'm going to have to explain to the Lib Dems what democracy is. You know what? I'll make another video on that issue. They say they're ready to form a new government with 14 MPs. Okay, I understand you don't technically need a majority to create a new government, but you need at least a good minority. Now, 14 MPs? Seriously? On the plus side, if a general election campaign starts, they could save a lot of money on campaigning because they don't really need a big battle bus. They could just get a minibus instead. Okay, we're being slightly mean to them because they only have 14 MPs, and that's kind of irrelevant. If there's an election, they could win a lot of seats. So the best way to find out is by looking at the current polls and see what the voters say if there was an election tomorrow. Well, this isn't looking good for them either when they're polling at 15%, almost half of what Labour is doing, and Labour are in a mess. God, and we thought Corbyn was delusional, wanting to force the Queen to make him Prime Minister. But let's have a look at some of the people in this shadow cabinet. First one, Ed Davey, who is apparently the shadow chancellor. So as we know, the Liberal Democrats are against Brexit and they're in favour of multiple referendums until they get the result. But back in 2010, in the House of Commons, this happened. The Conservative MP Geoffrey Cox asked a question to call for an in-out referendum when it comes to the European Union membership, and Ed Davey responded and saying that Geoffrey Cox seems to want multiple referendums and that is not sensible. He also said that many people in Britain have not had the chance to vote because they were not around for the previous referendum on Britain's membership of the European community, as it then was. I therefore think they would like to have their say. So yes, Ed Davey, the Brexiteer. But my favourite shadow cabinet role is Tom Brake. Tom Brake's job title is he's the Shadow Secretary of State for exiting the European Union. Seriously? Exiting? They should have just called it Secretary of State for remaining in the European Union, because that's a bit misleading. Okay, who's next? Chuka Umunna. So Chuka is the one who defected from the Labour Party to the Lib Dems, and he said this in 2017. Chuka suggested that he could never support or suggest to voters to support the Liberal Democrats because they're not a real party. But now he has a new shadow cabinet job in the Lib Dems. So Chuka's role is, so he is the Shadow Foreign Secretary, he's the Shadow Secretary of State for International Development, and he is also the Shadow Secretary of State for International Trade. 3 roles? And we thought George Osborne had a lot of jobs. To be fair, this is not the first time the Lib Dems tried to play pretend government. Back in 2015, when they were in a coalition government with the Conservatives, George Osborne announced an official government budget with the red boxes and everything. And then next door, we had Danny Alexander of the Liberal Democrats coming out with an orange box for some reason, saying this is our alternative budget of the Liberal Democrats. I mean, no one cared, but good for them. It's astonishing to see a political party that no one takes seriously because of their broken promises and lack of principles. I mean, look at their names. They're neither Liberal nor Democrats. And I bet if you ask them to show evidence that they're leading in the House of Commons, this is what they're going to show you. That only the Liberal Democrats are ready to form a new government with 14 MPs. And funnily enough, they left out 2 big names who didn't get a shadow cabinet job. Sarah Wollaston and Norman Lamb. I mean, Sarah Wollaston, meh. But Norman Lamb is very talented and is one of the few good Liberals. Although, in their defence, they're too busy chairing serious select committees to have time to play pretend shadow cabinet games with the other kids. But jokes aside, the Liberal Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for not accepting the referendum results, the will of the people, and for not understanding that the mood of politics in this country is completely changed and that there's no longer any need for a party called the Liberal Democrats. And actually, on that note, they should also change their name because they're no longer Democrats and they're also no longer Liberals. Piers Morgan actually said a very, very interesting thing about this issue.
Populism is rising because liberals have become unbearable. And I speak as a liberal, okay? In my core, I'm probably more liberal than not. Although fundamentally, I see myself as a journalist and I'd like to see both sides of all these things. And I can argue both. But liberals have become utterly, pathetically illiberal. And it's a massive problem. What's the point of calling yourself a liberal if you don't allow anyone else to have a different view? You know, this snowflake culture that we now operate in, the victimhood culture, everyone has to think a certain way, behave a certain way. Everyone has to, have a bleeding heart and tell you 20 things that are wrong with them. And, I just think it's all completely skewed to an environment where everyone's offended by everything. And no one's allowed to say a joke. If you said a joke 10 years ago that offended somebody, you can never host the Oscars, So now there's no host for anything. The Emmys now just said they're not going to have a host either. So hosts have gone. And soon every award winner will go because everyone's a human and they're all flawed. So no one can win awards anymore because there will be no platform before they even get on the podium. So then no hosts, no stars. Then no one can make any movies because we're all flawed. So no actors, right? So suddenly, where are we? The Liberals get what they want, which is a humorless void where nothing happens, where no one dare do anything or laugh about anything, or behave in any way that doesn't suit their rigid way of leading a life. No thanks. So what's happening around the world? Populism is rising because people are fed up with the PC culture. They're fed up with snowflakery. They're fed up with everyone being offended by everything. And they're gravitating to forceful personalities who go, this is all nonsense. Which, by the way, it is in most cases. So why are we surprised? I'm not surprised. It doesn't mean to say that I agree with a lot of it. But it means I can understand it. And I understand why the Liberals, my side, if you like, are getting it so horribly wrong. They just want to tell people not just how to lead their lives, but if you don't lead it the way I tell you to, if you don't lead the life the way I'm telling you to, then I'm going to ruin your life. I'm going to scream abuse at you. I'm going to get you fired from your job. I'm going to get you hounded by your family and friends. I'm going to make you the most disgusting human being in the world.
So my message to the 15% of the population who are thinking of supporting the Lib Dems is that if you're a Remainer, please try to accept the referendum result because Brexit is going to happen anyway. And once we get that done, don't put your faith or trust in the Lib Dems. They're not a real party. There's no need for them. If you're left-wing, go left-wing. If you're right-wing, go right-wing. The Lib Dems don't stand for anything serious. And I want to thank everyone who has been supporting this channel so far. And I want to mention that last night I posted a video where unfortunately we had to do a bit of self-censorship with certain words. And it was unfortunately needed because of this site's biased algorithm. What happens is there are a lot of sensitive words on that, and some of them are absolutely ridiculous that you can't say. And if you do, then what happens is they shadow ban the video, so your video won't be actually going around and be shared automatically by the site. So this is the main reason that it had to be done, unfortunately. So apologies for last night's video. Hopefully it won't happen again. And as usual, if you want to follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram's down here. If you want to support the channel, you could become a member of the Cabinet Club. The link is in the description as always. And don't forget to share the video, subscribe, click on the notification bell next to it because you won't get notified otherwise if a new video comes out. And I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.